Let's get a view from the conference floor now with our reporter Natasha Phiri, who is in Polokwane. Natasha, good evening. Stan Matabata's fortunes were sealed, convincing third-term win, but he has his sights set higher than a provincial leadership role, doesn't he?
Definitely, man, he does. And he also indicated that, listen, if branches of the ANC are going to a conference in December, if they say, listen, we want you to stand and represent us, indeed, he will answer that call. But indeed, Iman, his slate won with the overrides majority, a very, very large margin there. Of course, he came back, he made a comeback as the chairperson of this province by 781 votes, beating Dixon Masemola by 389. Of course, they squared off together before in 2014, and by that time, Dixon Masemola had actually declined the nomination in that year. Let me just also read, the other candidates and what they actually got. In terms of the deputy chairperson, Ms. Florence Radzelani, she got 791 votes, beating Bule Shai by 373. Deputy secretary there, Baiskop Makamu, are getting 797 votes, the most votes here at this conference, Iman, compared to Livuan Lecharabe, who got 365. Moving on to the newly elected provincial secretary there, Ruben Madadze. I hope I got that pronunciation right. Of course, he was a former regional secretary of the Youth League in the Vemba region. He got 714 votes, dashing Soviet Lechanyani's dreams of coming back as provincial secretary. Of course, Mr. Lechanyani got 451 votes. And last but not least, another new addition to the provincial leadership is Nakedi Sibanda Kekana as the provincial treasurer. She got 787 votes, beating Faith Chauke by 375. But of course, to talk us through this, I'm joined by a person who's no stranger to the media, and of course, that is none other than ANC spokesperson, Mr. Mabe. Mr. Mabe, we saw the election of new officials, the new elected leadership of the ANC in Limpopo, a clean sweep of Stanley Chupu Matabata's slate. What does this mean? What is this an indication of?
Well, Natasha, I think we must just correct the notion of a clean sweep. This is a conference of the African National Congress. The democratic will of the majority of branches has prevailed. That's very important. Electing leadership at conference of the ANC, it's one aspect of the conference. It does not really define the life of conference in its totality. There are many other things that have got to be done. The very comrades who contested positions, the contenders for positions of officials, are still here in the conference. So basically, their membership of the ANC does not get surrendered or end at a point when they do not make it to the leadership. No. It's an embrace of our democratic processes. It must be understood like that. Because once leadership is elected, yes, we move away from notions of slates. Those elected are not only expected to lead those who elected them. They now lead the entirety of the 10th Provincial Conference of the African National Congress and are going to be presiding over resolutions taken at this conference. Coming from us as the national leadership, of course, our views have already been expressed by the Treasurer General. We do welcome these outcomes. They are a reflection of what we expect from ANC conferences. Well, in terms of how the conference has been conducted up to this far, the delegates, the environment, quite peaceful, how comrades are carrying themselves, quite encouraging. Even till the wee hours of this morning, comrades were still participating in policy discussion documents. Even now, at this late hour again, in this afternoon, before they begin nomination of additionals, they are still discussing in committee. They've broken into commission rooms dealing with those policy discussion documents, which now begins to correct a notion that was becoming dominant in the media, that our conferences reach a stalemate when they must adopt credentials. Policy discussion don't even take place. The only thing we do is to emerge with a leadership. The conference of Limpopo is a trend. We hope that it becomes a trendsetter. It sets an example of how conference of the ANC are supposed to be conducted. Of course, with the new membership system and what we've been learning, there's been teething problems. And you can see with every conference we host, we improve how we'll have done the previous one. So this again is a reflection of the experience we have gained over a period of time. And I'm expecting that it can only make our processes much, much better going forward.
Mr. Mabe, you touched on an important point, and you've partly answered my question in regards with, policy documents. But also, it's quite worrying to see delegates still walking up and down and up and down. Not all these delegates are inside the commissions.
Well, Natasha, I don't understand. I mean, delegates could be walking up and down because they are going to the bathroom. There are many things that are happening.
And those that are loitering around?
Well, I don't know who's loitering. I'm just with you here. I'm just saying we should be careful because there are millions and millions of people who are watching SABC at this point. So just creating an impression that people are
Mr. Mabe, you're not creating an impression, but there are some delegates who are loitering.
Okay,
this is what you stressed as the ANC yesterday.
Okay, that's fine.
You urged delegates to please prioritize policy documents of the party.
Yeah, let's assist. Okay. Policy discussion documents vary. You've got battle of ideas, you've got economic transformation, you've got social transformation, you've got international relations, and all of that. Okay. So there are many. Some of those commissions have concluded with their work. Okay. Others are still continuing. So are you saying Shempua delegates, Labour Federation Commission, because but let meet no. I very give Baba are not school after school. All the new commission FDJ So I'm just saying so that your viewers, the good viewers of the SABC, understand that not all these commissions spend the same amount of time. You could find that economic transformation takes much longer than say social transformation, than international relations. So now, if I'm sitting in the commission of battle of ideas, when I'm done with the work of my commission and all other commissions are not done, so we are not going to go and be addressed alone in plenary. No, we've got to wait for all commissions to conclude their work, so that when reports of commissions are given, they are given to the full complement of conference. So loitering is not the right way. These comrades have concluded the work of their commissions. So but what the chudul said, listen,
Okay, Mr. Mabe, moving on to today's program, we understand that those additional PC members will be elected. Just please give us time frames. What needs to happen from now on?
Well, this is what is going to happen. When we spoke to the brand new provincial secretary, indications were that they need all commissions to conclude. Once commissions have concluded, they will then go back to plenary. At plenary, there could be those commissions will feed back, but at the same time, there will be that final work of elections done by the Electoral Commission to then come, read out those who would have qualified to stand as additionals, and then if there are additional nominations coming from the floor, call for those. Once conference has concluded with that work, then they will then go and prepare the ballot, then the conference will then conclude with the balance of the work that needs to be done.
Okay, thank you so much for your time, Mr. Mabe. And of course, we understand that ANC President Cyril Ramaphosa will be closing off tomorrow. Okay, so tomorrow at 12:30, President Cyril Ramaphosa will be closing off the 10th provincial conference of the ANC. I mean, just also going back to that discussion with Mr. Mabe about the policies of the ANC. I mean, so just talking to some delegates off the record, Iman, some delegates saying that they actually want to raise the issue of the step-aside resolution in some of these commissions. But of course, we're still here as SABC News, Iman. We will be giving you all the latest updates and developments in regards to this provincial conference right here at the ranch in Polokwane.
Thanks very much for that update, Natasha, and we'll wait to see how that particular development unfolds, the one you just mentioned now.